This is the Birthing Truth podcast where guests spill their unvarnished, honest, and naked truth. Naked. I'm Courtney Elaine, and I am feeling...
Claim your sit.
Let's see. Happy.
All right. Yeah. And I'm your boy Black Bluez, and let me see. Right now, I'm straight out of that peacefulness because I need to really work on that in my mind.
You need to manifest that.
I need to, peaceful. I just need to be peaceful because I feel like I'm a calm, peaceful person. But I do also feel like when things happen, I allow myself to stay angry. I saw something on YouTube, a lady saying that only we can make ourselves angry.
Right.
And that it takes 90 seconds for that emotion to process through your body and leave. So every time, if you stay mad a long period of time, it's because you're making yourself mad over and over. So I'm all about peace.
Like a rerun.
A angry rerun. But I'm about peace right now. Giving birth. So we have GED, our Google education degree. Because you can get a whole degree on Google.
Yes, sir.
Know everything everybody else know. So what's the last thing that you Googled?
Let me see.
No, let me go find mine.
Because I don't know. And I just pray. I just pray.
What was the last thing you Googled?
Lyricist Lounge.
A Lyricist Lounge. That was the show.
Tracy Ellis Ross
came from Lyricist Lounge.
That's how I got to that.
You, because you wanted to know. That's what she started.
Yes, it started with us talking about what's the name of the show? Blackish.
Oh yeah,
the episode of Blackish where they did a segment from Saturday Night Live. They redid a segment from Saturday Night Live where Eddie Murphy played James Brown.
Okay.
So the little girl on Blackish actually recreated the whole thing, and that got us to talking about Tracy Ellis Ross.
And then we rewound all the way back to Lyricist Lounge.
Because you said said that she was on Lyricist Lounge. Or no. You didn't know the name of the show.
Right.
So I had to go Google that. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was a really good one, which made me want to go back because I saw some clips. It made me want to go back and watch clips of Lyricist Lounge.
Right. Well, I got my Google education degree by looking up how long are owls' legs. I looked it up because Courtney said that an owl's legs were as long as John Ross's legs.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I'm like, ain't no way. But what I found out was
what did you find
they
out?
say that they have rather lengthy legs lurking beneath their feathers. I don't know if they...
But did you see a picture?
It has a picture on here.
Of their actual legs?
Yeah, but this owl don't look as tall as JR.
Okay, now stop.
Because when you said that, that's what I thought. Like, how are these owls hiding these legs?
Well, I mean, it was a little bit of a hyperbole.
Oh, okay.
But, hey.
Hyperbole to stretch the truth.
But their legs are long. Do you see how little owls look? And then you raise their feathers up like you would raise up a skirt. I mean, I'm a visual person.
And they're mighty.
And
lengthy.
then you have all...
Well, yeah, the legs are longer. Longer than what we say.
Than what you see.
What we would think.
Yeah, what you would imagine.
Yeah, so I found out that what you told me was actually true. Even though it was a hyperbole, it was actually the truth. I like that. So, just a quick story. I taught her hyperbole for my class the other day, and I guess one little boy was taught that he shouldn't lie. So he would not do it. So I was like, how? He was like, I ate pepper. And I was like, how hot was the pepper? And he was like, the pepper was so hot that it burned my tongue. I'm like, no, it was so hot that it burned your tongue off. And he was like, no, it didn't.
But it didn't burn my tongue
Yeah.
off.
And he didn't want nothing to do with that hyperbole, man. He was like, nope. So he didn't.
That is
He's,
so
yeah.
funny.
I mean, what can you say? What can
Well,
you say?
That's good. Maybe let's hope he doesn't grow up to be a liar.
Right. So, what is our country word of the day?
Cow.
Cow. In English, possibly carry. Go on, get. Keep it moving. I.e., get the hell on.
I.e. Get the hell out.
Can you use can in the sentence?
I.e. Cow on.
All right. Okay, I guess I'll try. Let's see. Yo monkey about my face.
Yo muck.
Monkey.
Yo muck.
About my face.
You
What?
dumb.
What is? I just don't understand that.
You dumb.
I don't understand that.
I love it. Who came up with that?
I don't know.
Carl.
My mom and my grandma say that.
Your grandma came up with that?
Probably.
Probably.
Your grandma say that? Does your grandma say that?
My grandmother does not say car.
Who said? Your mama said.
My mama say.
Your mama said.
My mama does say it. I was gonna try to deny that, but yeah, she says it.
Right.
Don't.
So going into our truism section. So we want to talk about working with a team and how important it is to, well, is it important to work with a team, or can you be like one man show? Like Prince. Prince wrote, produced, he's like, I played the xylophone on here. I turned on the lights in the studio. He did everything.
Yeah.
And he was a genius in doing everything. But sometimes people want that clout to say I did it all. Because
Right.
you have some artists who say I wrote, produced, arranged, composed, all this. And then a couple years later, you have people coming out saying, hey, I helped them and I want some money.
Or they do all that and that be some Okay.
It don't be good.
It be some.
So like to write and produce and have your own studios and not ask anybody for help, it's not looking too good.
It turns out to be a bunch of.
Oh, so what you talking about Tyler Perry? That's who you talking about.
First of all,
that's who you talking
let's
about.
just mention to our audience what these paddles are for. We're trying not to, curse too much.
So we're gonna let the paddles do it.
We
for
just gonna
us.
let the paddles do it for us, because we get some good Christians.
Good clean Christians.
Good clean Christians. Okay.
So,
but that wasn't Christ-like of you to mention Tyler Perry's
that
name.
wasn't. I mean, well, what I thought about was that it did come out that he said he write and produce and do all the things that he wants to, and then when you said that the quality of it might not be good, that's just the first person that I thought of. No, that's no shade. I love Tyler Perry.
Oh, you do?
I love Tyler Perry. I do. I love his work
Break it
ethic.
down.
I love I love who he is and who he has become and where he's brought himself from.
But
I mean, that's your however. Go ahead.
okay, so I'm gonna give it to you. Here's the thing. It's very important to have a team because when you have a team, they tell your team lets you know when you're dropping the ball.
Right.
If you have a good team,
Mm-hmm.
your team will hold you accountable for what it is you're doing, good, bad, and indifferent.
Right.
If you have an honest team,
It have to be people that you trust.
People that you absolutely.
It can't just
that
be.
is what it is.
He don't trust nobody.
Tyler Perry don't trust nobody.
Oh Lord, Tyler. Well, you can trust me.
Call us, Tyler.
Call us. Let us know. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm very trustworthy. Oh, she is too. I'm trying to get a job. I'm like trying to be like, listen. Mm-mm. No, you did.
Don't do me.
Wait a minute. No, you didn't. Did you say that? This what you want to say to me? I don't think that's what you want to say. We need you to look for another board.
We don't have no other ones. Oh,
but yeah, so
I need one with the N word on it.
Oh no, I don't like that word. Anyway, working with a team is very important, and it got to be somebody that you trust. Like you, I trust. So, like recently, I wrote a poem, and I have some like 2 or 3 words in that poem that I wasn't sure how the world would perceive it.
That is such a good example.
Right. So I sent it to you, and you gave me the same, ooh, like, I don't know about that. And then I had to go and like kind of explain it to you. And once I explained it to you, you was like, okay, cool, I get it. Then I sent you another poem, and you immediately was like, hey, I don't like this word and that word. I feel like it needs more. But then you went back and said, you know what? Never mind. After reading it again, I think you on point.
But you know what? That's because I went and I did my own additional research. And that's what's important. If you have people around you who actually care about your craft, who actually care about you, and you know, whose opinion matters, then they could put you in a situation where they can keep you from falling by the wayside.
Right.
It just go back to the fact that maybe he does not trust people.
That is sad.
That could be what it is.
That is sad.
That is really sad.
Well, I trust you, and I will always be on your team.
Why did we automatically
both of us think
that?
Yeah, that's weird.
You are
so yeah.
strange.
I will always be on your team, even if you're not. If you decide not to rock on my team, I'll still rock on your team.
Thank you.
Got it.
So today's guest is a Nigerian American. He has 12 letters in his name. He's the first of 4 kids. He's from the southwest side, but he was schooled on the north side. His name is John Ross Dike I. He is a creative entrepreneur, and he is the producer of the Birthing Truth podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome, John Dike.
Welcome.
How y'all doing?
We're good. One thing I want to know is, why is it important that you have 12 letters in your name?
Well, typically, Nigerian parents give their kids Nigerian names. But my father never gave me a Nigerian name, so my name is just an American name. So I have just 12 letters: 4 my first, 4 my middle, 4 my last.
Well, see, like with me, my name is an American name too. Real American. Okay. And just the first and last name is 14 letters.
Yeah, your fact had us counting the letters in my name.
And then I have like 22, I believe, altogether. So
I'm like, to count the letters in my name.
Oh, you probably have more than me.
That later tonight.
Right. So yeah, I have like so many letters in my name. So that's what made me want to know, like, what made you say that? Because that's what made me notice I had so many.
Yeah, when typically when you say that you're Nigerian American, they always ask you what's your African name? And people are surprised to find out that I don't have one. So
right.
And those Nigerian names, one name could be 12 letters.
Yeah.
Like no shade.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No shade, but
you're right.
One name could be 12 letters.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, cool. So Gerald, we want to ask you to claim your set. So claiming your set is pretty much just saying how you feel right now. So it's just like, I'm straight out that.
I'm straight out that optimism.
Optimism.
I
There we
love
go.
it.
Don't it make
Okay.
you feel
I
good?
love it.
Okay.
Yes. I love
All right.
it.
And another thing that we do is we do a Google education degree. I want to know, what is the last thing that you Googled and why?
Now you can look in your phone because we want it to be accurate.
Okay.
You know, like we really want to know what was the
What was
last thing
the
that you
very
Googled,
last thing that you Googled?
because it could be that random.
Okay, I the last thing I googled was an episode of the Joe Budden podcast, and I was trying to find out what he had said about somebody or people learning something about a musician.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the last thing I googled, the very last thing,
But why did you want to know that, though?
because I wanted to start a new segment on my podcast where instead of waiting to the end, where you ask people, or waiting to the end for people to tell, I guess, summarize what people should get from the episode, I want to start out with that.
Right.
So that way people know when they turn it off, even if they listen 10 to 15 minutes, okay, this is what I got.
They
from this
automatically
person.
know. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I want to put that at the beginning.
I like that. He was doing his research.
Research. That's an inside joke. Research.
Research.
So today, our country word of the day is care. Can you use that sentence real fast so he know, Courtney? Or tell them what it means.
Yeah, let me
Just
do
tell
that.
them what it
Okay.
means.
So care
Cat.
in English is possibly carry. So possibly
It could
it
mean,
could mean carry.
Okay.
Okay.
care, or gone,
Okay.
or get. Keep it moving. You know.
Okay.
So could you use care in a sentence for us, please?
Dude, if you don't care on.
Because everybody know. Care your
Care yo
own.
Ain't nobody got time for
Right.
that.
Because everybody knows.
Sure.
Once you say, I really don't even understand like how that translates anyway. Carry, care. But hey.
They took
Hey.
all of like the rest of the word out. It's so funny.
Crazy.
So we're gonna go ahead and start with your questions. The
Okay.
interview part. You have been looking for a platform to share your story, and now you have one.
Okay.
So we want you to be raw with us. Give us all of your truth, okay?
Okay.
So we're gonna start with your first question: is what do you stand for, or what is your golden rule?
Whatever you do, keep at it. I'm not the type of person who says I'm gonna do something and I'm just always, every time you talk to me, it's like, hey JR, what's going on? Well, I'm about to do this, I'm about to do this. I do a podcast every Tuesday. That's what I do every Tuesday.
I can say that is true with you. From the day that I met you, anything that you wanted to do, you have definitely cared your own, and you've done it. Like, so I do applaud you for that. That's something that I actually
Yes,
need.
for
I
sure.
can learn from you actually. So, who do you think made you who you are today?
Man, the closest example I probably say is my dad. Closest example. Without, I've always wanted my dad to be more explicit at explaining things, or more intentful in telling me what exactly I needed to do. But just his actions in working 20-hour days and doing it over a course period of 30 plus years is really one of my motivations to in doing what I do now.
Right. So seeing how your dad works and that motivation is actually what made you kind of like make sure that you're gonna keep on with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you would say that that's your truth to who you are.
Yeah, that and the fact of just wanting to be on, like, wanting to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? And for some, it comes easy. For me, I don't think it's ever really come easy for me. Like, I see now that people are doing what I've been doing for the past few years, whether it is branding, wearing their own stuff, or pushing their own agenda. And I've been doing that for years. I'm just now starting to be more consistent with it. But I think that just wanting to be on, like, just to be known, has been my motivation with the consistency.
What sacrifices would you say that you've made to live in your truth?
I would say a lot of isolation, not being around a lot of people. Like I don't think I really have many friends. Even though when I tell my homeboy that, he's like, "Nah, you're a pretty friendly person." I don't really think I have many friends. What I mean by friends is not just what I do, and when I tell you this is what I'm doing, you're all in it like I am all in it. That's the type of friend I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think I have many of that. So I sacrifice being a socialite, being out and about, money. It's a lot of things. If I sat here and thought about it, we'd probably be here all night.
So, was there a moment in your childhood or something? I guess when I say childhood, but there's a moment in your life that kind of changed you and made you who you are today?
Yeah, I think my dad, he taught me how to do math. And when you're getting comfortable with somebody, you kind of let that respect factor go. That barrier of, okay, this is my dad, so I still have to approach him and talk to him a certain way. You let that go. And so I was like, "Dad, check this out." And he was just like, "Don't tell me to check it out." And I was just like, "Whoa, relax, calm down." But I think that, like, that is always, I think that changed me. Like, I can't, there's a certain limit that you can get friendly with a certain person or anybody. You know what I'm saying? And I think that experience right there, that's one. Another experience is faulty relationships in terms of business. I think now that I'm more, when people see that I'm doing what I'm doing and people are like, "Hey, let me help you with this," I'm kind of like, I don't know. I got to see how you act in your own first. What are you doing first before I can let you in on mine? Because people bring all ideas, but they don't have the work ethic that you have.
Right. That is definitely
what I mean? So
yeah.
So I just, I'm really kind of guarded when people are like, "Hey man, I can help you with this or I can help you with that." And I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, be careful of what you invite into your baby too. Like, this is something that I know for sure that I'm gonna look after. But
for sure.
You got to be careful with that though, because one of the things that we talk about within this podcast is having a team behind you. So would you say that it's important to have a team?
Absolutely. I think that, you see, I've heard we've talked about that before. You and I have talked about that before. I've talked about it with Jayla before. But for me, I really have found it difficult to get a team because I haven't found anybody who wants to volunteer. Like, "Hey man, I'll do whatever I need to be associated with you." That's the only way for me it feels authentic.
Right.
I don't want to ever have to reach out and be like, "Hey, hold me down with this or hold me down with this," because I know for myself, if there is something that you needed, "Hey JR, I'm doing this event. Well, hey, what can I help you with?"
Right.
Before you can even come to me and say, "Hey JR, can you do this?" I'm like, "Nah, Court, I can help you with this. What do you need? Do you need me to record something for you? Do you need me to do promote it for you? Send me the link. I'm gonna pass it out."
Like automatically,
Yes,
when I tell you this is what I'm trying to do, you automatically offering.
Yeah.
Right. One thing in our friendship that we do is we buy a number 4 for each other. That's always our payment. A number 4.
A number 4?
Because number 4 always have cheese and bacon. It don't matter where you at.
Anywhere.
It don't matter where you go.
Yeah.
Number 4, you getting the deluxe. You getting the cheese and the bacon.
You best believe it got cheese and bacon on
the
it.
number 4.
Listen, that's all we need.
Yeah, because most times
4.
it's like the number 1 is the regular. The number 2 might be like something like with chicken. And number 3 might be like some strips or something. And then the number 4 be like the deluxe joint.
I mean, I probably paid him for about 5-7 years.
Oh yeah,
number 4 for helping me on my photography shoots.
Yeah.
Right.
And, as friends, we
Just do that.
just do it for the love. But at the end of the day, you hungry.
Right.
Yeah.
Mrs.
That's
Stone,
your
here you
payment.
go.
The
That's
number
your
4
payment. The
with a
number
strawberry
4.
soda.
Right. And she ain't gonna call me later telling me that I owe her $36. So I'm just saying she's not. She's not.
Oh man.
So
Black Blues.
Cannot with this boy.
So could you describe a moment that you felt like you failed terribly?
Yeah, I would say working at the ensemble.
What were you doing at the
Forgot
ensemble?
all about you.
What were you
I would
doing
say-
Being
there?
at the ensemble.
Okay, I'm glad. Listen, I'm just gonna take the gloves off on this one. So,
Yes.
man, so
Spill your truth.
we were doing tour of education. It was a whole thing where we go and provide folklores for the kids, right? And I don't want to drop names. Should I drop? I don't want to
No,
drop
don't
names.
drop no names.
Okay, so there was a gentleman that I was understudying a part for, right? And I had my own part, but I was
Can you tell me the
understudying.
names later though?
Yeah, I'll tell you the names. I'll tell you the
Got
names later.
him.
I was understudying a part, right? But it really wasn't really an understudy. It was really I took over the part, right?
Okay.
And I killed it. After such and such had told me, hey, well, you need acting classes, and now I realized that it wasn't a slug. Then I thought it was a slug.
Right.
I was young, started acting, and I thought I was just the SHIT or whatever, right? And so she was like, you need acting classes. So I took that as a slug. I was like, dang, she's not going to put me in no more events, right? Or no more shows. And so I got into this show. I killed this show. And when it comes time to collect the checks, there was no rehearsal checks for me. I was hot. I think I just recently got over that, maybe about a year and a half ago. But I was pissed off, and I felt like, did she not like my performance? Why didn't I get the rehearsal check? And then it came back, oh, you were understudying. But I never understudied the part. I was the lead in that role. That was a failure for me.
Was that discussed before that? If you would understudy, you wouldn't get
Yeah, they
paid?
said that. They said that, but he went out.
Oh, and
He
they
went
still
out. He
paid
got
you.
married. He left. He went on a honeymoon, and so I was up now, and now I'm rehearsing that. At rehearsals, I'm doing the part.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or maybe I misconstrued it at the time. But when I saw everybody counting checks, everybody was counting checks like it was like money falling in their hands, and I had one check with my name on it in one envelope. Right. And so everybody was just like, everybody was carrying their checks like this. You know what I'm saying? And I had my check like this. I was pissed off, man. I was pissed. I was pissed. I was pissed.
That is like, man.
So if you had the opportunity, what would you have changed in that moment?
In that moment, I would have told I didn't understudy this part and I need my money.
Go get your money.
I didn't understudy this part. I need my money. I ran this show for 2 weeks.
But see, like you were angry. So do you feel like, thinking back to that situation, do you think that you would have had the level of maturity to say that and say it in a manner that came across professionally?
No, because
you don't want to get buck.
No, I was always scrubbed there.
Okay.
I was always scrubbed there because I wasn't the theater guy, or I wasn't the guy that had prior acting experience.
Right.
I was always scrubbed there. You know, it was like everybody knew to call line when you dropped your line. Everybody knew what stage left, stage right was, and here I came, raw talent, and I felt like I just got the short end of the stick. Like, you know what, the show must go on, and it's like if you get into the league and you're playing with everybody else who's a professional, you adapt quickly.
They're like, you better catch up.
Yeah, you catch up, and so I caught up. And when they saw that level, I was getting to that point where I was catching up, they just threw more work on me, and then the back end just took my bread from me.
I don't know. Sometimes we have to try to figure out a way to get professionally booked. You know, how do I professionally go ahead and say, "Give me my money"? and pay me what you owe me.
Before I go Samuel L. Jackson on you.
Right. Right. But in a professional manner. How do I say that?
True.
How do you just say, hey, what's good? Let's get it. Shout out to Nicole Crump. Let's get it.
Get it.
Let's get it.
That's hard.
Right.
That's why I said I feel like it comes with maturity. You have to go through some things until you get to that level. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
I would have asked for the rest of my money. I'm sorry.
I complain to kids. Shout out to the love of my life. I complain to her every day. She's like, "You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go." And I was like, "That's my bread, though." I'm just
right.
listen.
oh
my God.
I set it off when she was like, I need
this money.
Oh my God.
She was throwing that ugly cry too.
No.
She needed that
She was
money.
serious. She was not playing about that money.
Right.
She's always been a good crier.
I love her.
She's always been a good
You
crier.
remind me of Kimberly Elise.
I'll take it. She's a great actress.
She's a great actress and a beautiful woman.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, how do you deal with or internalize like your truth? I guess like we could say, how does the opinion of your truth affect you moving forward? Like other people's opinion of your truth.
Takara Taylor, shout out to her. She told me one time, she said, I do what I do for the love of it. Because if you did it for the money and you didn't see the money, you'd lose love for it. Mm-hmm. For me, it makes me happy. What I do makes me happy. And so however people receive my truth, I just keep going because I think that the optimistic viewpoint is when you stop, you're done. But if you keep going, you have the opportunity to make it to wherever you want to make it. Right.
Right.
So, I think what I do in production makes me happy. Like I'm elated to do it.
Right.
And that carries everything.
And if somebody looked at you and say, like, pretty much, well, you're just wishful thinking. You want to act, you want to, produce podcasts and have your own podcast, and it might not happen for you. How much of their opinion affects how you feel? None. I'm
self-motivated. None.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I say that is because everybody got their start somewhere, right? And I never, when you think about the inception of certain ideas and you think about where it could go, I fixate on the fact of just getting started. And as time progresses, if you stay consistent with it, it materializes. It begins to appear. You know what I mean? Like thinking back on wanting to do a podcast, right? I remember sitting with it and I was like, I want to do a podcast. And my business partner at the time was like, I don't know what for. And I was like, well, we need a project. I want to do a podcast. We did the first one. People received it well. We kept going. And here I am now, and 2 podcasts later, a couple of features later, sitting with my people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So people's perception and of my truth, for me, it really doesn't carry any weight. I take bits and pieces of what people say.
But you don't let it negatively affect you.
Yeah, but I don't let it, tear me down. I don't let it deter me.
Right. I think I say like sometimes I hear the criticism and the first thing I say is like whatever I do me anyway. And then later on, like sometimes like at night, I'm like, but they did say this and that I could probably use that. So it's kind of like I don't take it full on, but then I kind of listen to it and think about it and internalize it for myself. But no, if you just come to me, you can't make me stop anything. So
you take it constructively.
Yeah.
Because you find like the hardest thing to do is start, but then the easiest thing to do is pick apart what somebody else did. You know what I'm saying?
Believe it.
And so in doing that, I realized that a lot of people don't have the idea to start anything, but when you give them what you've done, oh well, you could have done this better, or you could have done that better.
Yeah.
And for me, it's almost like I take it with a grain of salt. Like, okay, maybe that is right. Like some things over time you realize, okay, maybe that looking from the outside in, that would be beneficial for you. But other times it's just like, nah, well, what have you done? I mean,
who are you?
Well, what have you done?
Come to me, so yeah, because people will do that. They're like, it's dope what you're doing, but I think that you should. And it's like, okay,
yeah.
And then if you take everybody's advice, then you look inconsistent in your truth and
yourself.
inconsistent in your art, because it's like, okay, I'm trying to move and do what everybody else want me to do, but you gotta say this is what I want to do, and then move with that.
Yeah.
I like that.
What do you say to the people who would say you doing too much? You got this going on.
You got
over
too many
here,
things
you got that going
on.
on over there.
You
You're doing entirely too much.
In that aspect, I've sat back with myself in the loneliest parts of the night and realized, okay, maybe you do have too many irons on the fire, right? What can you do and be consistent at that one thing? But at the end of the day, I've heard people say multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income, and you find out people are always like, you do one thing and you could and that branches off into something else. Like prime example, I would say that an example of that is I never sought out to print t-shirts, right? I only printed t-shirts for myself, and when people saw that I was always wearing my t-shirts and they asked, how do you do that? And I said, well, I make it for myself. And they said, could you make me one? And then there goes another stream of income. Now I can make you this t-shirt. I'm proven because all you've ever done is see me in my shirt. So now I can make you a shirt, but it's going to cost.
Right.
And so when you think about that from my vantage point of production, that's another form of production that I've squeezed under my umbrella.
Right. I can say you have 6 jobs and you don't get tired, because listen, I remember one time we were rehearsing for a play or something, and you pulled up in a school bus. I say, what is
I dropped them off at the game.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, can we say that?
It's long. It's,
you don't work in them.
Statute of limitation is over.
Oh, okay.
I've been past that, man. I'm 6 years in the district now. I've been past that.
I was like,
I did pull up in
You
a school.
he pulled up a school bus and got out with his wardrobe in his hand.
A school bus, though.
The whole
The
school
whole bus.
Not the whole bus. I was like,
Yeah.
what is he doing? And it's like,
And
that's
not the short bus.
No,
the joint, the
bus
big
bus.
joint. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Like
you
the
carried
Metro
3
bus.
teams.
What is it? 24? Is it 24
Like-
seats? How many seats?
46.
Oh, 46. Look, I'm
Like, oh my
listen.
God.
Oh,
I was
man.
like, what? But yeah, he has a lot of jobs,
This
a
man.
lot of streams of income.
Grinds.
Right.
Okay.
What do you? How do you define heartbreak?
Oh man, it's been so long for me in that realm. At the time, I would define it as just putting your heart into everything and right, and that everything just doesn't see value in you or what you've done. Right. I mean, but like I said, it's been so long. I've been with my wife combined now for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Prior to that, I was with, I don't even consider that an ex no more. You know what I'm saying? I've been with her for 10 years.
I'm thinking even beyond love, how can you define like heartbreak
I'll give you an
other
example.
than a relationship or something romantic?
Yeah.
So my wife and I went back and forth on what we were going to name our child if we had a boy or if we had a girl. Well, I never knew what we were going to have until he came out. And so I would say that I gave him my name, which really made me proud to now say, because, back in the day, I used to go by John Jack. In college, I went by John Jackson because I was always ashamed of the stigma of what dyke, like when I found out what a dyke is, and people would be like, oh, you dyking like this. But when I gave my son my name, that really made me proud to carry my name myself, right?
I love that.
But when I go to his graveyard and I see my name, his name on the floor, and I'm wiping the dirt off of it, I really do feel heartbroken then. Like, just to have waited the whole time pass that name on, and now he can't pass it on. I got to pass it on for him.
Right.
When I get another chance to have another boy, God say the same thing. But
God willing.
that right there, internalizing that at night times is really sometimes it's hard to sleep.
Right. And so talk about dyke. It's actually just a derogatory term that don't even really mean, like, I don't even know where they came from.
Yeah.
Like, why is that the word for it anyway?
But he really just made me proud now to say that's my full name.
To carry that name.
I love that.
He made me proud to do that. Because before I come around as John Jack, and my sister would be like, "Why don't you just use your name?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And but now I always got to throw on the first because my son was the second, and he just kind of made me proud to. This is your name.
Now you want
take
to
your
say
name.
that.
Yeah. So
I understand that. My name growing up, I'm named after my father. And I have his first name. I don't have anything else. So it's already weird. My name is weird. So my name never really meant so much to me because, my last name isn't the name it's supposed to be. I'm named after my father, even though my mom didn't like that name. And then she just took some alphabet, threw them up, and gave me my middle name. So sorry, mama. She gonna be so mad. She never even called me by my middle name. So it's like weird. So it's like I've never been connected to names or a name, which is why I asked you earlier today, what was your African name? Because I started looking up, like, what would my name have been if I was born in a certain tribe, the Ashanti tribe, actually. I don't remember what my name was.
It's interesting because we've asked ourselves, like, about your name before, and whether your last name was DK rather than Dike. And so it's nice to hear.
It's Dike.
Well, you talk to other Nigerian American people, and they always seem to have the answer for you. My last name is whatever my father said my last name is. Irregardless of whatever people may assume or know from another portion of life. My father answers this, I answer that. Now, my son can answer whatever he wanted to answer based off of what I tell him, but whatever my father answers, I answer. You know what I'm saying? So, is it pronounced another way? It very might well could be. Right. But the way I pronounce it is how it reads.
Right. And your dad, it seems like your dad has a big influence on you and who you have become.
Yeah.
It's like
his grip was, my dad always worked, but his grip of, you're going to do it this way was, something you can't shake. He was felt. Was
it that right? Was it at some point that you were like, I want to do this my way as opposed to exactly what he?
Yeah.
Right.
I think that was really my biggest gripe with him is, treating me like a man. Especially when I came of age, it was an issue. Like we've never spoken about girls before, the birds and the bees, but all of a sudden you want to tell me, hey, well, you got to marry this, and you got to marry this, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna do what I want to do, right, and so just that, and always feeling like he in some way kind of like hindered me when all he really did for me was just help me progress. Like I don't have many loans or anything like that because he paid the bill for college. Right. So he, in a nutshell, it's like almost eating your cake and having your cake and wanting to eat it. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be your own, then you got to be your own. But if you are under somebody's rule or assistance, you got to kind of go with what they go with.
Right.
So what would you say are some steps that you are taking or that you intend to take throughout your life to make sure that you're staying on this consistent path of living your truth?
I would say one thing I've done is I have lightened the load in terms of like everything that I want to do at one time. I got to see something successful first, right? But no matter what, I don't care if I have to stay up Monday night before. Every Tuesday I got to drop until otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So Ask me the question again because I want to make sure I answer it completely.
So, what are some steps that you think? What are some steps that you intend to take throughout your life's journey to make sure that you stay consistent with your truth?
I gotta get more organized. I'm not organized at all, and pardon me. And I gotta be more timely. Like we agreed at 9:30. That's what I told y'all to text. I was like, I'll be there at 9:30. At 9:00, I was still in the bed. At 10:30, at 10:30, I was, hey, I'm coming. I left. So being timely, being more organized. When I say timely, being prompt. I need to be more prompt. If I'm gonna be there at 9:30, I really need to be pulling up at 9:15, going. Being more organized, writing things down, I think would be better, and getting a calendar with a schedule that will help me align things, so I lock people in those dates.
We can help you with that.
Even though today really worked out that you weren't ready on time.
It really did.
Yeah, that really worked out. So, what was your current self tell your childhood self?
Oh man, I would have told John Ross Dike, Southwest Johnny, what they used to call me.
Oh,
okay. Wait. Pause.
Southwest Johnny.
Pause. I got it. I need to know because we'll get back to that question. I need to know, why did they call you Southside Johnny?
Southwest
Johnny.
Southwest Johnny.
Well,
you gotta be specific.
I'm from. We all had nicknames when we were coming up. Me and my brothers, we all had nicknames, and I don't know. Sometimes I think it might have been more. I used to be real rambunctious when I was younger. We used to fight a lot when I was younger, and so they used to call me 2-Piece Johnny.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know
So when
that
I say
about
Southwest,
you.
when I say Southwest Johnny, we fought in a neighborhood. And so when I say Southwest Johnny, I'm really kind of. It's really kind of an ego, like a narcissistic thing.
Okay.
Like I'm really referring to myself in that light. But
Right.
yeah,
Wow.
Southwest Johnny. I'm from the Southwest, Fondren and West Airport.
That is so funny.
First name
Fighter.
John, Johnny.
Right. So John Ross Dike I would tell Southwest Johnny.
I would tell him. It's okay not to be like the neighborhood kids. We all wanted to hoop. We all wanted to play ball. But had I heeded to my father's advice of learning the piano, who knows where I'd be today? I was always a creative, always from the beginning.
Right.
And because my parents are who they are, and it's not like something that you can bet a dollar on, I kind of was just like, well, I'll do this or I'll do this until I realized this is what I really want to do. Creation, artistry. That's who I am to the core. So I would have told the younger me back in the day, it's okay to dream. It's okay to be a certain way. I would have maybe gone and got a communications major instead of psychology major. Or maybe had done, theater arts in college rather than psychology. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So with your dad having such a huge influence on you, how does he feel about you taking the route that you're taking now with your creativity?
Well, I got a job.
Okay.
I got a 9-to-5 that allows me to file taxes. So, pardon me. So, everything else, is really a hobby. It's really my lifestyle. But I got a job, so it's never like I need money to do this or I need money to do that.
Right.
I got a job. I got married. You know what I'm saying? So I'm living an adult life. So he really doesn't. He might hint you need to go to school, but that's right over my head. I'm not paying no more money for that.
Right.
I'm not doing that no more.
Right. If you would have kept up though with that piano.
Yeah.
Southwest John Legend.
Maybe so.
He would have been Southwest.
Because then I could have
John
found my keys on my range and all of that.
Isn't John Legend? Oh, he's not an EGOT right now. He has one more to make.
This ain't the honeymoon.
Sing. Let him
Past
use
the
you.
infatuation phase.
Right in the, you ain't sing exactly.
He said, please.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. You gotta sustain your note. I understand. I understand. So, is there something that we should have asked you that we did not ask you?
The journey. How do you get to this point?
That is a good question.
How did I get to this How did I get to this very point right here?
Yes.
Where I get the privilege of doing what I've dreamed of for a long time, and that is producing.
Right.
A lot of bumps in the road, you know.
Right. Well, let us know. What was your journey to get?
It's a lot of isolation and forming an opinion in music first to start off with, and then getting people to believe in what I was saying. Like, I want to throw a talent show, figuring out how to do that, throwing a talent show, then investing money into an artist just for her to turn around and do what she wanted to do, until I got to the point where it was just like, it's time to put money in me. And so, and then always learning, you know, because a lot of the things I do now, I did not know 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And so when I left Visionary Movements, right, and I started a new company, I realized that everything that I had learned in that, I just brought over. So I wasn't without shirts. I wasn't without a podcast. I wasn't without editing equipment, cameras and stuff like that. I had built that all up just in case that plan didn't work, right? And so, you know, a lot of internet time, a lot of trial and error, believing in myself, trying, you know. I would say, you know, over the course period of 8 years, it's been, you know, really music managing. I took a kid on the road one time from SFA to HBU to Sam Houston to sing the Negro National Anthem. And that's something I called around and got you know, people to say, hey, I'll do my little poetry. He'll sing the Negro National Anthem. We'll make it a package deal, and then we'll leave. We just want a segment of Black History Month, right? Started there, through a talent show in '09, right? So I've always been some kind of like a creative and organizing and putting things together, and then it got to the point where I realized that I was so heavily involved. That's why I say, if you got to, like we said on the podcast, if you're doing another social mix, I'm there, right? Right. And I realized that it was one of those things where I wasn't the talent. And so when you're not the talent can tell you what they want. There was one time on YouTube, I told a kid to sing this hook. He got 10,000 views in one day. He snatched the video off because our relationship went awry, right? Wow. And I realized I wasn't the talent. Then I said, I want to be the talent. That's when I started acting.
Okay. That's...
I mean, you know, I could write a book about it.
Yeah.
You know, just trying to find my way in it, hustling the right way. 6 to 7 jobs, like you know,
we
6
know.
to 7 jobs. You know,
what was it? Domino's.
It was currying,
Domino's,
bus driving,
acting,
bus driving.
And you were doing all of that at one time while we were
preparing,
in the process of doing a play.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, 10 years.
Your work ethic is ridiculous and inspiring.
Yeah.
Cause I be wanting to get in the bed.
Imagine if the dollars was right.
Tell me about it. We're just gonna speak it into existence. Yeah, we're gonna manifest that joint.
Yeah, 10 years is a long time that we've known each other. Exactly. 10 years,
right?
And it's about time that we're doing something together,
right?
You know,
defining moments.
Yes. So,
okay,
we ask you to give us 3 words from your past and 3 words from your present. We're going to start with the 3 words from your past. The first word you chose was unaware. Second word was distant. And the third word was hungry. I'm going to start with unaware. Unaware, the meaning is having no knowledge of a situation or fact. How do you feel about that word right now?
I think I've gotten awareness. I think I've become aware With the various podcasts I listen to, or just listening to people's conversations.
And you definitely feel that in your past you were unaware.
When I was younger, when I was younger, a lot of the times I didn't like I wanted to play basketball so bad, but I never knew when tryouts was. Like my 9th grade year, I didn't know when tryouts was. My freshman year, when I went to Booker T. Washington, I never knew when tryouts were, and I never knew 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. It wasn't until senior year where I tried out, and Coach Stowe was like, "Hey, anybody try out can come." I felt English. My mom's like, "Nah, you're done.
Let it go out. Yep.
Wow.
Let it go." Unaware.
Right.
Wow, that's a good example of it. So your second word, distance, the meaning is not intimate, cool or reserved.
Being cool or reserved.
Yeah, I used to stare out like Jay-Z had a lyric once that said, I used to rap to the raindrops on my window pane. And I would stare out of my window when we lived in an apartment complex and wonder what other people were doing in their houses when they went home. Like, you got a family of 5 people, my dad, my mom, 2 brothers and a sister. You got people here to talk to, communicate with, but I'm always wondering what people are doing everywhere else.
Okay, so you were distant within your own household
within
and not
around
just,
you.
Wow.
And I still feel like that right now. In some conversations, I find hard trying to connect with people in the conversation. Whether it is I'm not looking you in your eye or I'm looking at my phone, and, because you'll sense that I'm not listening, so you'll stop talking, and then I'll just kind of turn away, and the conversation will be dead. I get up and walk away. I'm kind of distant now sometimes.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's just
It's kind of a Virgo thing too, a little bit.
It might be. I don't know. I just sometimes if I don't feel like I'm carrying a conversation, then I feel like people want me to relate, and I just don't know how to relate because I only know how to do it one way. That's been my vice, my downfall my whole life. I only know how to do it one way and only one way. I don't understand people that do stuff and they're not like everything is not involved around that. You know what I'm saying? Like I do the production company, and not only do I do it, but I wear it. It's on my car. It's on my watch. It's on my phone. It's everywhere.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's on my laptop.
And so you mean you don't understand when someone else doesn't go that far?
Yeah, I don't understand
why'd you
that.
Stop?
I don't understand that at all.
So hungry.
Yeah.
Call it. Having a strong desire or craving. Do you still really feel like back then you had that hunger?
Yeah, I think even more so now.
Even more so now, huh?
Because I'm waiting for my opinion to matter to people, for them to ask, right, what do you think about this? That's what and it's not. I just feel like I got a lot to offer, right? And the only way that you can prove that is being successful in somebody else's eyes, not your own.
Right.
Like somebody else has to see you successful before they feel, okay, well, JR, is doing this, or JR is doing that, or, what he has to say might carry weight because he's made this, right? Instead of my actions, it always has to come with a $ attached before people can find you successful in that light.
Right. So the current words were consistent, determined, and optimistic. Consistent being unchanging in nature. Yeah. Determined, having made a firm decision and being cool with not changing that. And optimistic, hopeful and confident about the future. Yeah. So going into the future, do you feel like these words still accurately define you?
Yeah, I might change determined to loyal. I might change determined to loyal, but consistent for sure. Optimistic is my mantra. Right. It's who I am in a nutshell. Like, I don't think any idea is bad. I think that people's ideas fall to the wayside because of them, not because it's a bad idea. Right. And so
you can preach a sermon on that one.
So I'm optimistic. Like I'm a glass half full guy all the time. You know, regardless, taking into account what happened to me with my child. My child passed away. A lot of people's children have passed away. It hurts. It hurts like hell some nights. Some nights I can't sleep thinking about it. Sometimes when I see kids and I coach kids at school, I'm like, man, my son would have been this. You know, I'm telling kids to be great. My son would have been great. You know what I'm saying? But I understand that some people go through. A lot of people have lost kids. Where we buried my son at, it's a whole lot of. He got brothers and sisters across the lot. It's a lot of babies that have been passed away. Yeah. So, it happens to people. I hate it happened to me, but it happens to people. Right. So, I'm always a glass half full guy. Right. Always.
I like what you said when you said that if your dream doesn't succeed, it's because of you. And sometimes you have to take I want to do this. And then your first idea of how to do it might not be, perfect, but it's staying there and working it, saying, okay, well, that don't work out. Let's do it like this. And let's try this and stay on it yourself because you're responsible for making it pop.
For making it happen. Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
That.
Yeah, I like that too. You definitely have done that.
Right. Well, we want to thank you for coming on the Birth and Truth podcast.
I appreciate you.
Giving birth. So one thing we want to ask is go ahead and give us your social media info.
You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dike _visionary. The rest are just connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page, and my website is stillvisionary.com.
Whoa.
You already know, man. I'm well rehearsed with that part. Go ahead.
Oh man. So that's it for today's podcast. We need y'all to
carry y'all behind down to the social media platforms and comment, and subscribe. We are at Birth and Truth Podcast on all social media
platforms.
Right. Stay tuned for episode 2.
Peace.